Hola, audiencia, y bienvenidos a Oye Cinema Club. I'm tonight's host, Jason Ishmael Eccles, and I am joined by an illustrious panel of co-hosts, Michaela, El Dondino, and Marina X. Or that's just her X profile. But I also like Marina X is acceptable. And of course, Steve Says TV. Tonight we are reviewing the 2001 French film The Piano Teacher, directed by Michael Haneke. Um, Michael. Is Michael or Michelle? I don't know. Anyways, let's just jump straight into first impressions about this thing. Or maybe I should tell you guys why I chose it. Like you guys know, I mostly choose movies based on the 2000 or the 1001 movies you must see before you die list, and this one is no exception. The only reason I chose this one is because I was kind of keeping everybody in mind. I was like, let me pick something that's in color. Let me pick something that's a little bit more modern. Within like the last 3 decades, which this one met those criteria. But it was not in English because I resisted a little bit. So that's why I chose this movie. Yeah, that's all I'm going to say. So let's just jump first impressions. We haven't heard from Dino in a minute. Dino, why don't you give us your first impression of The Piano Teacher?
Oh boy. Uh Crazy. I mean, can it be more French, right? I guess you had to have the piano teacher so that then Amelie could go out and do what it did. I'll tell you what, Whiplash ain't got shit on the piano teacher or Maestro for that reason. It's intense. It was so disturbing. It was so French. Have I said how French the movie already is? And there wasn't really any smoking, and it was even more French than that. Um, oh, so interesting. I was like, the mom and her relationship was so disturbing. I have, yeah, I was intrigued. I was very intrigued. There were moments where I wanted to look away, and I normally don't. But I was like, it was not body horror, but like body damage, not body damage, body. I don't know what you want to call it when you. I mean, your body hurting yourself. Yeah, it was very interesting. Right up Jason Eccles' alley. I can't wait to hear what Marina has to say about this film because it does fit in her profile of films that she's willing to watch for us. So yeah, um, I enjoyed it. Oh man, the yeah towards the end oh man, interesting. I did enjoy it, but it's weird enjoyment. If I felt dirty, I felt very dirty watching that movie. The longer the movie went, the more disturbed I felt, which is maybe what they wanted us to feel. I felt like a voyeur, like they were. Anyway, I don't want to get too into towards the end of the movie because that's kind of where I want to talk about, and so I first want to hear other people's first impressions. But that's kind of it, all over the place.
Yeah, thanks, Dino. That's a fair first impression. I don't know why you think this is right up my alley. Maybe we'll get back to that later. Um, Michaela, why don't you give us your first impression?
Okay, I feel like there was a time when I would have thought that this movie would be right up my alley because it's got just the right amount of pretension. I think it's like this movie is not. I didn't enjoy it, but I did really appreciate it, and I really see that it's a fabulous film. Like I think the script is incredible. I think this is one of the tightest scripts. And I think the directing is so amazing. I think it's an amazing film. It's just not for me because I was like disturbed. I was uncomfortable, which I think that's what the filmmaker was trying to do. And I think he was, there was a lot of things he was doing. But yeah, my first impressions were, I got to the end and I was like, God, that movie is depressing and I don't want to see it again. But it was still very intriguing. It wasn't an enjoyable experience to watch it, but I really appreciated it. And I was, I thought that the opening scene was so simple, but perfect filmmaking. I was like, that's such a brilliant, quiet way to open a film, because within the first 5 minutes, I was like, what is going on? I felt like I knew so much and knew so little at the same time, and I wanted to know more. And so there was like, as far as like filmmaking, I thought it was just wonderful. A little slow at times. I feel like this film works for being slow. Some movies like do slow well, and I think this one did slow very well. There were a couple times when I was like, you can pick up the pace a little bit. But yeah, overall, I think it's a great movie, just not fun to watch.
Right on, right on. I share a lot of those same sentiments, so I'll circle back to those quickly when it's my turn. But right now, it's Marina's turn. Marina X, what do you got for us?
You picked some nice people first. So
Hmm.
sweet. Adding this to my list of what the fudge movies that we have picked here at Oh Yeah Cinema Club, I was just like, I guess I should have taken the cover seriously. I thought this was going to be a classy, classical movie, and immediately, whoa, it was a lot going on. It was a lot going on. Man, where do I start? Like, oh, this is where I'll start. Dino will appreciate this, and I'm glad he's back because I need to take away his trophy for picking out the weirdest freaking movie I've ever seen. And I need to hand it over to Jason because The Handmaiden was like number one. Like, I have never watched a movie that made me like, oh my gosh, so many times. But this was
Wait, what was it? Say it again.
The Handmaiden.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
Yeah, that was like top tier, made me the most out of all the movies we've ever reviewed. This is now number one. Like, because it wasn't just like sex scenes that I didn't ask for, which is like my biggest like it was also the sadism. Like, it's like it was like the violence. I was just so uncomfortable, and it's crazy because I was trying to figure out where the lady, I've seen her before. She was in that movie like Greta, that was like about her stalking like girls and getting them to like return her purse and stuff. And I'm like, wow, it's very interesting to see some of her earlier work. Like, she plays like this like subtle creepy person really, really well. And that's definitely my positive, like, just really good acting to get the point across what they wanted. But I just didn't want to eat what they were serving. It was just a lot going on. And I love classical music, so I was really excited to get some of the music going. It was like I could have used more piano scenes and less people cutting themselves and smelling tissue that was left behind in a room. Like, it was
Thanks. I had forgotten about the smelling.
I will never forget that. I will never forget that. I'm scarred for life. But yeah, and let's dive deep on like the costumes and direction. Because yeah, that was intense. But that is all.
All right, cool. Thank you very much for that. Steve Des TV, is he around? Is he going to give us a review, or should I just move on to me? What
Just
do you
real,
got for us, Steve?
just real quick. I've been traveling a lot, so unfortunately, I wasn't able to fully pay attention to the film because of
Sure.
my ADD. I didn't realize this movie was one of those movies you have to pay attention to the subtitles. So I watched a lot of the movie without reading the subtitles because I've been without sleep. So that's my first impression and my final thoughts.
No need to apologize, Steve. No need to apologize. So that leaves me. Okay, so my first impression of this thing was, before I seen it, just based on the title and the box cover, I was like, oh, this movie's going to be about a piano teacher that probably has like an illicit love affair with like a student. It's French, so it'll probably be like maybe either an underage student or like, just a young, man or whatever, or something, or vice versa. But that's, what I thought it was going to be about. And turns out it was just a movie about a big old sex pervert. Um, which is very French. And I'm not being like a jerk by saying that, but a lot of these really good French movies do have this bit of sort of I don't want to say like it's provocative. It gets the people going. This thing is, yeah, it's very provocative. I think I agree, Michaela. The script is very tight. It's a very good script. Lots of twists and turns. It's not what you, at no point is this what you expect it's going to be. And just when it's kind of taking one turn and you're like, okay, I sort of see how this thing's going to play out, and it doesn't. Uh, which is just very creative storytelling and just. And I looked up this director, Michel Haneke, and I realized I'd already seen a couple of his films just by, chance or whatever. And of his other films, I think maybe this is the one that I liked the most. I had seen Cachet, and I had seen, which, I mean, I didn't really like at all. And I had seen another one. I forget what the other one was. But I don't know. Maybe this is not my favorite. I don't know. I have to find out what the other one was again. But like, I didn't hate this movie. I didn't hate it. And it does make me uncomfortable. It started making me uncomfortable at the scene that Marina mentioned, where she goes to the adult film booth place or whatever, to look at the pornography. And I was like, okay, like she's a sex pervert, but I do like the way that this movie. I mean, that's how they're trying to like classify her or whatever. But I was like, she's also like very repressed. She lives with her mother. They sleep in the same bed. They're trying to like, save money so that they can like buy a place of their own. And so like all that's kind of like admirable. And I was like, yeah, but they have like a weird relationship. Like she's got this very controlling mother, and her mother's depending on her. And clearly, like they sort of allude to the mother and her making these sacrifices for her musical career, to be this concert pianist or this classical pianist. And so there's all these layers to that relationship and like the psychology behind that. And then like it goes on to show her as being like a little bit of a sociopath at the same time. And she becomes jealous of this student, with this guy that she sort of has like now developed this crush on. And you think it's going to sort of take that direction, and then it takes a whole nother thing. So all that I really kind of dug. The subject matter may be a little tough to get through. I just sort of rolled with it. I was like, once I realized like what I was getting myself into, I was like, yeah. But I will say this: I
Yeah.
did. I knew Dino was going to be watching this thing, and I figured, Toledo would be joining him. And so when they got to the house concert piano scene, and the guy is showing off his instruments or whatever, like, oh, this is going to be a great movie. They're really going to love this. This is like right up, Toledo's alley. Dino's going to dig this. And then it's like,
Yep.
whoosh, thing took a left turn real fast.
Yep.
I don't know. Maybe they still enjoyed it. Who knows? But yeah, those were my first impressions of the film.
Can oh, this is gonna sound weird, but I want to be
Yeah, go
like,
for it.
I want to. I'm like, am I gonna defend the sex pervert part of it? Because I want to be like, I don't think she's a sex pervert. I think she's just completely messed in the head. If that
No,
makes
I
any.
just said the sex pervert in jest.
Okay. I was
Yeah.
gonna be like, to all the sex perverts out there that we might lose because of Jason bringing you guys all down.
I really
Yeah.
hope there isn't a sex pervert watching this. But
You're like,
I will.
sir, I'm a sex pervert, and I do not appreciate the way you have depicted.
Gotcha.
Yeah, right.
Gotcha. No, but
No. So I don't. I kid when I say she's a sex pervert. I mean, whatever her sexual preference is and whatever she likes, that's on her. I don't really care about that at all.
but
But I just didn't see. It's one of those things that you really don't see coming, right? And it was like it was one of those things. She's very uptight, and she's very stern and confident and kind of mean spirited, and she's a little bit cruel. And then it's like, oh yeah, where's all this coming from? And then I thought to myself, oh, her mother really doesn't show her any love. She doesn't really know what love is, and she's the scene where she's like really struggling, and she just kind of wants her mother. Like I didn't know where the turn was going to happen, like with her and her mother in that bed, and I'm like, is she about to attack her mom? Like, and like she's really just trying to get her mom to like show her some affection and give her a hug or whatever. And the mom is like, I don't. That's not how I get down, And it's like it's sad in that way too. And this movie does a really great job of playing on all those emotions because she's probably the villain of this film. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you also feel deeply. Well, I mean, I felt deeply for her because, like, this is so sad.
For the
Like, where all
mother?
this is coming from.
You feel sad for the mother.
No, for the teacher. The mother is a villain too, I think, maybe.
I think
Yeah,
the mother is a villain. I feel like
definitely.
the teacher is messed. And I did okay.
Never mind her putting the glass in the girl's pocket and like berating all the
Oh,
students.
so I want to get to that. Oh, I also want to get to. You said it's really well written. It said it's based on a book, so I don't even know
Yeah.
how messed up a French book's gonna be if the movie
Oh,
is just messed up.
I read a whole thread about it. The book is like way more graphic apparently, and like way
Yeah,
more
imagine.
intense. And it has like a whole other storyline because I think it takes place in Austria in the book, and it's like a whole other storyline about like her relationship to Austria at the time, like how Austria politics were. So there's a whole other thing that
Yeah,
Oh
goes
because
wow.
on.
it's there in Vienna also, right? The isn't that part of it? The Vienna School or something?
Oh, I don't know.
There's a lot of like German and stuff
Yeah,
around the school, but I just attributed that to them to doing a
The
lot of
music.
German music,
composers.
a lot of
Yeah.
Yeah.
German composers.
So what I noticed, and that I was kind of talking to Talita about it afterwards or whatever, but so I think there was the jealousy. Hang on, guys, or take a real big swig of that of your drinks, guys. That I was like, oh yeah, she broke the glass and put it in the in the pocket because she's jealous of the attention or whatever. And then I was thinking, no, she sees herself as that girl because then she has a conversation with the girl's mother, and the mother is like, we've sacrificed so much, and she's like, she has sacrificed. And I almost at times feel like in her messed up way, does she feel that she were the girl and that somebody had put glass in her hand so that it could be messed up and she wouldn't have to play anymore, as a way of like freeing her. The because that all also came after the fact that the girl was like, basically is like, I have diarrhea, like I'm getting the shits, I'm getting nervous to perform and all that, and it was all just like, clam it up, tie it up, like, yeah, go out there. So I that's what I started thinking kind of towards the end of the film, instead of thinking of all that other crazy sex shit, of the fact that she's so messed up with her mother relationship and all that, that it's almost a way of trying to save the girl by just kind of derailing her musical voyage.
That's such an interesting take. I
That is
don't
an interesting take.
I don't agree with you. I do think it's just pure jealousy
Hi
because
guys.
of like her, but just because of her like mannerisms and like the pattern of her behavior throughout I just think the evidence is laid. But I think it's an interesting take, and I'm like, I hear you on it. I think the argument can be made.
Yeah, I didn't necessarily mean like 100%, but I almost,
Yeah,
because projecting, yeah, like a
I
sense
can see
of,
there being like a little bit of that in there. Yeah,
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 Probably wasn't like the reason why she did it,
yeah.
but there probably is, like you said, somewhere in the twisted realms of her
Like
brain.
in the
But
aftermath.
but it also can tie into being a sociopath because, like, a lot of her stuff was like that role playing, like, I don't want you, but she low key did. Like, everything she was just very well equipped in like comebacks despite doing crazy things.
because then at the end when they all meet in the lobby, and it's like mama and daughter, and they're having that thing, and at least the mom of the young girl kind of, it's like, the mom of the teacher is like, she's only like uh she's only filling in, right? And it's only
Mhm.
this. And the mother of the girl was like, no, but it's kind of like,
Because
almost like,
her daughter almost was like going to be the one doing it, so she's
yeah,
like, it is
and
a huge deal.
right, but it's almost like, because a teacher had talked to her about like the sacrifice, that it was actually the daughter. It's almost like
Mm.
that mother actually learned and
Yeah.
kind of noticed that, recognized that, because then that mother kind of stood up for the teacher as well in front of her crazy ass mother.
Yeah.
And
She got
then she goes and stabs herself and says, I'm out. And I'm like, that's why I was like, in her twisted thing, is that kind of like the connection of like,
I mean, she
I wish,
obviously planned to stab herself because she brought the knife.
You don't
I
carry
think-
knives with you on a regular?
We saw her take the knife out of the kitchen though. Like she brought that knife with a purpose.
Yeah.
To stab Boy Toy, I thought.
I don't think so. Although I think that theory has legs, but I think that she brought the knife to stab herself on stage, and then when she saw him in the lobby and he didn't give a fuck about her, which was cold as fuck, she chose to stab herself there. And she's used to self-harming. This is obviously probably one of the biggest self-harm moves that she's done, but I took it as that.
Speaking of self-harming, just real quick, when she's like faking her menstrual cycle, like what was that about? Why did she do that? Was she just trying to get out the house, or what was that?
Jason, that's not faking menstrual cycle. That's cutting.
I think she was doing one of two things. I think it wasn't like that she was trying to fake her period. She was definitely cutting for either pleasure or punishment. Those things could go this hand in hand.
Usually
if you're
both.
a masochist.
But she used a pad, and I thought she did it so that her mom would see that.
No, I think it was to stop the bleeding. I think that's what she was doing. But I think she was doing it either out of pleasure in reaction to, I can't remember what the scene was before, but there was something like with him or but I think it was either out of reaction of that, like pleasure, or punishment to herself. Or it's the same, I don't know. It could be the same thing. Like the punishment gives her the pleasure. But she's obviously, this woman is obviously, I think she gets off on self-harm because she has to punish herself because she's never been good enough and she never will be good enough. For nothing in her life. And that's why The Piano Teacher is a perfect title, because she is the teacher. She will never be the master. She is like the most respected teacher, like she's like the master teacher, but she's not. Like her mom the whole time in the movie is reminding her, like, she's kind of like, oh, there might be someone in the audience who will see you and could like make something more happen for your career. But at the same time, like, you're not really going to get there. Like, you don't really need to worry about it. Like she's kind of like doing both, which we're hearing this and we're realizing that like being a teacher is great, but not really enough. And she probably did want to be one of like a concert pianist, and it's incredibly competitive. So for her to get to the level of being a teacher that teaches concert pianists is like extremely high, but she's still not the concert pianist. And so she's like one level below that. And I feel like she's like never good enough in any area of her life. Like she can't get love. So she like self-abuses. She obviously like doesn't like know how to receive the love when the guy's trying to give it to her, even though she desperately wants it.
Yeah.
At first it was crazy because like at first take, this is really dark. I thought like I thought she wanted to do something with him, but like didn't want him to know that she was a virgin. So I thought like maybe she was like popping her own cherry. I know that's really weird, but I was just like the timing. But then I just figured maybe she just, it's like pleasure or pain type of thing. But then she never really did something like that again. And I hate to say it because I didn't want more, but like it would have been nice for her to do it at least one more time so I knew it was a pattern that she cuts. Because it kind of just like, it was just like I cut myself one time for you guys, and then I asked this guy to beat me up in a letter. So it's like, okay, I guess she likes getting hurt and she watches like aggressive porn. So, but it just wasn't like enough for me to think that she cuts herself regularly.
No,
she was doing it. I thought she was doing it just to like get out of the house or something. Like, oh, I got my menses. I got to go to the store and get some stuff. Like that's what I thought as it was happening. But then she's bleeding at the table, and the mom's like, "What are you doing? You're ruining my appetite." And then it's like that was it. Like they didn't really go anywhere else with it.
I think the reason why I think, I'm glad they didn't show more of it, or her doing it. But I feel like it's something she knew what she was doing and she had been doing it because it felt very much.
Yeah, the way she had like, folded up and like took it out, like it felt very much like a ritual. Like
ritual. There you
go. She had the mirror. She knew exactly what she was doing. The same thing of like when she went to this, I felt the same vibe when she went to the sex shop. She like beelined for it. She knew exactly what she was doing. Like had her ritual down. And then when she was walking through the park of the drive-in, and I thought she was going to masturbate, and then she peed, which was like super weird. But it was almost like she was like wanting to be caught, but then didn't like. I was like, obviously, she is a sex pervert. But I think that the connotation of it being negative in this circumstance is okay, because I think she is like, I think the filmmaker was just dropping things to show us like it's not one thing with her. It's shame. She like gets off on the shame and the punishment, I think. And like, you know, she writes this letter where she said, like, you brought up the letter, like, let's talk about it. She, in this letter, is like extremely graphic, all the shit that she's asking him to do. He tells her she's sick and that she has a problem. And what's crazy is like when that graphic scene in the end happens where he comes and assaults her in her house, it's very clear that this has never happened to her before. And that she's realizing in that moment she doesn't want this. Because like this is just fantasy to her. She's had this fantasy. I don't know if she is a virgin. I had the same thought. I was like, maybe this woman's a virgin.
That's
maybe
what I
not.
thought.
I don't think she's a virgin.
I thought maybe we would get intel if she was, but at that point I'm like, I don't think it matters because that's not what it's about. But like but when she was like getting raped by him, I was like, this is wild, because it's like you're watching her face. Like she did not want this, but she thinks she does because she's built up like a fantastical world in her mind because she's so desperate for love and she's not getting it. And so she has these boundaries that she's putting up to protect herself. Like it has to be this one way. And she's obviously like loves the shame and the punishment.
That's what I was. So this is how good I think I mentioned Talita. I need to go watch some other stuff she's been in because I just don't know if this is she's just so good at acting.
She is fabulous. She is fabulous. She doesn't move.
She's so intense with saying nothing.
Like I was like desperate as a viewer for her to just move like a flinch with a smile. Yeah. Like I was like, what is and she was so brilliant. She was making it so engaging. Like when she's watching him play piano for the first time and she's not smiling, but you can kind of see like a little bit of like joy and wonder creep in, and it's so subtle. I was like, she's brilliant. She's like so good at this.
And
agreed.
Because I
go back really quick. Oh, go ahead, Dino.
No, just her getting raped right at the end. I just couldn't tell, like, because even if I say no, even if I say this, do it, whatever, and her not responding, and I'm like, is this what she was actually like? I was still kind of confused in that sense of like,
I was too.
If her no reaction is again her just not knowing what she actually wanted, to begin with, which. Rape is rape, right? Let's not.
Right. Yeah.
That is that. I'm saying with her character in the movie, and because I couldn't tell if her character is like again a sociopath of like this is what the character thinks is what love actually is, in the sense that finally getting what she thinks she wanted type of scenario, or completely just. None of it, just terror. And then but I didn't think but then that makes me think I didn't think the stabbing was because dude came by without reacting to her.
I was confused. I was torn too. Actually, I was going to bring it up whether or not it was her no longer wanting it, like Michaela said, or just like, or did she? And she was just
so open-ended. It's almost one of those things that I don't even feel like the director knows. I feel like they did it on purpose to leave it open.
Because I think you can have your own, however you see her. I think because the same thing with the last shot of her leaving, it's brilliant. Like it pissed me off, but I was like, it's great because I don't know. Does that mean she's leaving to go clean up and come back and play, or is she leaving music altogether, or is she just leaving that concert? Like, what is it? Like,
or is she gonna freaking die?
Or is she gonna die? Like, is she gonna go stab herself again? Is she gonna go to the sex? Like, we don't know shit. We don't know if this, like, if her leaving ruins her career, if she's destroying, sabotaging everything, or if it was a major fuck you to her mom and to him to not show up on the stage after he gave her that like flippant response. It's like, but I think the whole ending is kind of open-ended, so you can kind of take it how you want, and that's just so fucking interesting. And so I mean, I was like,
raise your hand if you thought she was gonna walk into traffic, because I thought I was like, oh, she's gonna pull the I'm walking right into a bus, right?
I just thought maybe there'd be like a final shot, like something.
I thought she was gonna fall down because I actually rewound it. Like, did I miss something? Because like I blinked and the credits were rolling.
Too. It's like she walks off and then it's like credits, and I was like, what?
So when she leaves and it's just that like shot on the concert hall or wherever they're at, I mean, I knew that's how it was going to end because that's kind of how that's his calling card. This director, like he kind of ends all his movies very open ended, and you don't know what's going to happen. I was like, oh, there it is. Like I see that. I see what he's doing here. Um, yeah. I do want to go back to one thing. In the beginning, when she comes home and the mom is like, you're just thinking the mom is just very, overbearing. And like, here's this adult woman and she's going through her bag. And like, you've been out 3 hours past rehearsal. What the heck is going on? Your last appointment. And I was like, wow, mom, like this is what this movie's going to be about. This overbearing mom and her rebelling against the mom or whatever. But she pulls this designer dress out of her bag, this expensive designer dress that's like outside of their budget because they're trying to save up, for this house or down payment or something. And that was kind of interesting to me too when I look back at the whole scope of this thing. It kind of tells me because of all the other like sort of like sex pervert things that she's done, like what was she doing with the dress? Where was she going? Like who was she trying to meet? Who was she trying to look good for? Like who, you know what I mean? Like there's a whole nother story there, which also made me believe like, yeah, this is her thing. This is her bag. She does all types of weird sex stuff. It's also kind of interesting to me when she saw her student at the sex shop, like speaking poorly or whatever. She didn't even care that he's seen her. She just like went back into the store and started browsing about. Like I thought like maybe she was like, oh, the gig's up. Let me like call this guy out, but she just sort of used it to manipulate him. And I'm going to have a talk to your mother or whatever.
No.
And that kind of like maybe gets her off, the get the scent, the trail off of her scent, by like, doing that or whatever. But yeah, all throughout this thing, and I think even before and even scenes we probably don't see, I bet you they probably cut scenes of her doing sex pervert stuff. You know what I mean? Like, because like, okay, we get the point.
So mad. Like I put all that work into that scene and you cut it.
I'm sure this thing 211.
You brought up her running into that kid because I was just like, you're just gonna keep walking in, but then later on he says you saw me at the corner, like the newsstand. So they sell other things there. Because I was just like, that's a little bold.
Oh,
to,
sure.
like,
Yeah, that's a good point.
In there. But yes, I guess it was a newsstand. But I was like, man, they got a lot of stuff at the newsstand.
She was probably going to look at that section, and he was like blocking with his friends. He's like, damn it.
Definitely.
I'm going to punish you for this.
I was surprised she brought it up, and that she questioned, though, like, you said that it was like, or is it just because you got caught? I did, because that's where I was like, oh, she is sane. Maybe this is waking her up by acknowledging and being able to hopefully teach someone, or especially a man, of like the things you say and stuff like that. Is it just like locker room talk or whatever you want to talk about it? But then that kind of, not that it didn't go anywhere, but it didn't help her in her sex perversion, I guess. But I think it's more than sex perversion, guys. I still
No, it is. It is. The sex perversion stems from other things. Like she obviously is looking for control in her life, and with this mother who is making her life hell. And we don't know what went on with her dad. Her dad, she mentions casually that her dad was in the asylum.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then he dies. And so obviously, and she doesn't seem to really have a reaction to that. So obviously their relationship with her dad was not good.
After the dad dies, he's never mentioned again, and they cut away instantly. There's no reaction or nothing about the dad after that.
I really want to bring something up before I forget about it. I'm sorry if I'm going off track, but it's so important. This is one of the most interesting things about the film to me is the end when she is at the recital hall and she's talking to people. She's looking for the guy. She's got a big noticeable bruise and a cut on her lip. And not only does no one say a fucking thing about it, they don't even react. And that is so amazing. And it says so much about her as a person that like people almost don't see her as a person. She's like almost not seen as like a person who has like a life. She's just seen as the teacher. That's what she's seen as, is like this, like the piano teacher, this person who's here to serve other people with her skills or whatever, because
she's a gateway for everyone else, right?
Yeah, because literally, like I kept waiting, I kept reading their faces and being like, are they going to react? Because even when people don't say something about your face, they're still looking at your face, and they'll still like kind of like, oh, you know, being polite, but like looking at their face, and nobody even had a visible reaction. And I'm like, the director did that on purpose. Like that was a choice for them to not react to her. And I was like, oh my God, that's so interesting. It's like she's not ever like really seen fully as a person in a way.
She's not cared for at all.
I thought about that too. I'm like, she's about to perform. Like, even if you don't care about someone, like I would be like, you would even think the mom, as much as she criticizes her.
They start the movie with them beating each other up. When the mom's like, you cut me. And then they're like, what was that line? That's when I knew, like, oh, this is gonna go somewhere.
She's like, I have 2 gashes in my head. And she comes, and then she's like, I'm sorry. Like that felt like classic, like abuse.
Right.
Like this is something that happens all the time between them.
Because then the mom says something that I guess we're just hot.
We're a hot-tempered family, something like that. Yeah.
And I was like, no, this is not love, guys. This is not.
When that happened, like the highs and the lows and the highs and the lows, I just remember like I was just like
slapping and
I was like, this is why I moved out of my mom's house, because this is that type of stuff when you stay there too long and you have that toxicity and you say to yourself, well, all we got is each other, and you deal with it, and then you turn into this thing. Like mother-daughter scenarios like this, anytime I see it in a Lifetime movie or anything, I'm like, so glad I didn't stay, because like that's how it is when you have a mother with mental illness. You want to, society pushes like, that's your mom, got to be there for her, but they clearly had some stuff to work out that wasn't worked out, and it's like, shouldn't have been in that house. She should not have been living there.
And that relationship
was all very bizarre. Like, why couldn't they have just left the house instead of going into her room and pushing the dresser up? Like, they could have just like went to like a cafe or a bar and like had that whole conversation.
Because they're not right in the head, Jason.
He clearly went in there thinking that he was gonna fuck her. Like, he clearly went in there thinking like, oh, I'm gonna get laid, because he was like trying. Like,
he hadn't read yet. Also, they had 2 rooms. Why are they sleeping in the same bed? They had 2 rooms. That one was kind of office chic, I guess. I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
But it's like, you pull out a mattress if you you don't sleep in a bed, or you get twin beds. You don't share that bed. Also,
I just thought it was very European. I don't know how they do things over there.
Also, I'm like, she was teaching for a pretty. I mean, they have auditions and stuff for to be able to get in the program.
All those Italian movies we watch, and like the whole family's like living in like one room.
Yeah.
I didn't even consider the other room, Dino. Honestly, like, but it's a good point. I just thought like it was like one of those movies.
I didn't until I saw that they had another room, and they had a kitchen, and they had a living room. I'm like, you had multiple rooms that could have another bed. But my thing got into, I'm like, where is Zillow? Because, like, I thought she had a pretty freaking legit job as a teacher, right? Maybe not all teachers, but, like, usually music, conservatory, whatever. If you're able to pick and choose who your students are going to get in and not, and it's like you got to have some money, and they are sleeping in the same bed.
My mom was a music teacher. They don't make money. You could be like the most music teachers don't make. My mom was a music teacher. They don't make money. You could be like the most prestigious. They like, you're paid like not a lot.
We got someone saying in Europe,
in Europe, well, actually, you're right. In the conservatory in Europe, it's probably different because it's a lot more like elite. Yeah,
right. That's what I wasn't getting. I was like,
but we don't know how long she's been the teacher. She might have been a relatively new position. They said that they have been saving up. They have mentioned how long they have been saving up the money. I mean, I don't remember the exact time, but they mentioned it in the beginning.
I just got the impression, even when they made the comment about the money, that they were never going to move. Like this, there was always going to be something like that, because it feels like this like toxic relationship that's enabling of each other. Like, I think that they're toxically close, which is why they sleep in the same bed together.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, like the mom, throughout the whole film is, like you said, Marina, like up and down with her. Like there's moments where she was like, yeah, like maybe someone will see you at the recital. Like maybe you'll have an opportunity for more. And then the next time we see the mom is when they're leaving the recital, or leaving for the recital, and she makes a comment about the way she's dressed, and she was like, it doesn't matter, it's just a recital. Like, she's constantly like building her up a little and breaking her down. And I'm like, that like keeps her like wanting approval from her mom. Like, she's wanting it, but like is never going to fully get the approval. She's never going to be enough, I think, in any area of her life.
Yeah. And I wouldn't be surprised if like the mom contributed nothing too, and she's taking care of her. And so even though she may make a lot of times when people are in like those toxic relationships with like a draining family member, probably spending money on like healthcare and, you know, just everything for her. And that's probably all they can. She probably has nothing for herself. Like, her last $2 goes to the porn hut. Like, she doesn't have anything to really grow, like level up. It's probably just like
Porn.
That's why she went and bought
spending all her money on the porn.
Well,
Okay, let's talk about one quick scene real quick, because we haven't really addressed it, and I have an idea, but I want to hear what you guys think. The scene where she meets him at his hockey practice, and they go into the other room or whatever, and like she's trying to like, you know, like I guess get him back, or like, you know, figure things out, and he's like kind of on the fence, and you know, it's teeter on this real abusive relationship thing that's sort of happening, and she's sort of pulling him into it, and you know, he's trying to get away, but she's like, hey, look, and you know, he's a guy, so he's like, all right, maybe a little, but then like she throws up, and then that got me thinking, and I was thinking a few different things. One, I'm like, ew, he just got done with hockey practice, but you know, she's a sex perverse, maybe she's really into that, like whatever, you know. It's like, this guy's probably like pretty, you know, sweaty and smelly down there, I don't know. And then she throws up, and I kind of giggled a little bit, because I'm like, yep, I was right. He's gross down there. And then he says it, and I was like, no, that's not what it is. Like, there's something else to this. She threw up because maybe she's disgusted with herself, or this isn't really what she wants, and maybe this is the fantasy for sex perversion. These are my thoughts as I was watching it. I'm processing it now more with you guys, but did you guys make anything of that whole kind of like thing?
Well, first of all, I also threw up because that scene
For real?
was nasty. No, I didn't, but I was eating, and I don't know why I ever eat when I watch a Jason or Dino film. Like, it's just always a slippery slope. No, wait, who picked the movie about the
Handmaiden?
creatures?
Is that what you're talking about? Oh, no.
The creatures? What are their names? They're not like Bigfoot. They're
that wasn't me. Don't you put that one.
that was Steve, wasn't it?
That was Steve.
Sasquatch. I can't trust anybody and eat. No, so yes, I agree. I think our girl either virgin that just doesn't really know, like she likes the idea of it and watching other people do it, or maybe had some type of sexual something bad happened when she was younger, because yeah, throwing up in that moment. I don't know if you guys noticed when they were like making out in other scenarios and he would try to touch her down there, she'd be like, don't do that, or I'm done. Like, she didn't want it to escalate. She wanted to act out what she's seen, but she had like really intense boundaries. And I think when she dropped her guard a little bit because she wanted him back, but I think in the end, she was just so overwhelmed because she didn't probably want to go that long with it that she threw up.
He did say this has never happened to me before, but that could have been a lie. You know what I mean? Like with the whole like throwing up bit, like she goes, oh, I'm so sorry, this has never happened before. But like, you know, she could have been saying anything at that point. We don't know. But,
No,
yeah.
he said it never happened to him before.
Oh, he said that.
He said no one's ever thrown up after sucking my cock or whatever.
Okay, my bad. You guys are right. He did say that was him.
She was just saying, don't look at me. They were talking a lot at the same time.
He's so disgusted with
the
me,
French
right?
and the subtitles. I get it. I think I rewound it because I was like, wait, who said that? Because they overlapped, and obviously we don't know what they're saying unless somebody else speaks French. But but yeah.
Yeah, good point.
But yeah, I do think it was rooted from there's something about her. If she likes first base, she likes second base, kind of. But like when it gets too intense, she gets weirded out. Whether it's
all
him
very weird.
touching.
Also, it was pretty funny with her trying to run away on that ice. I did giggle at that as well.
Yes, I loved that. I was like, what a joke of her like tiptoeing away on the ice. I had that thought. I was like, so well. I thought that was so funny because like when they didn't like have a full hookup, but like when you leave after a hookup, like a one night stand, it's already like you're like, okay, it's like the walk of shame. It's already like kind of ridiculous, and she's like tiptoeing. There's like skaters out there.
Like her running away would have also been ridiculous, but her running away on ice is just absurd.
Yeah, it was.
It's
great.
almost a Ben Stiller movie for a second.
Yeah, I felt like the throwing up was just like straight up disgust with herself and like just really simple. Like I just took it as that, like just the same way that like a lot of people self-harm out of punishment for themselves or self-disgust or yeah. So I felt like maybe that was just like a physical reaction of self-disgust when somebody was actually being intimate with her. That was how I saw
But
it.
that was the that was while the blowjob was happening, right? Is that what?
No, that was after she threw up after he like got on top of her and he hadn't penetrated her yet, which we know because he said, you need to help me out. And or you need to help me here. So he was obviously like looking for her to like guide his dick in.
Right.
And then she like pretty much pushed him off and then threw up right after that.
And
No, I think his head, his hands by her face. I think it's just a different angle.
Yes.
What are you
You
saying?
think he was fucking her face?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, I totally missed that. Maybe he did. You guys are probably right then. If all three of you are saying it, I totally missed that.
You can see, like, I had to kind of like, I paid attention to. I didn't slow it down or stop it, but I paid attention to it because you can see her underwear. Like, so he's at her face for sure.
You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. I just can't believe I said, "Oh, you think he's fucking her face?" Like so, like actually.
Correct. Yes,
I
you
mean,
can
I'm not talking about a porn. I'm just like, oh,
you can fact check if you really want to go back and look.
And I said the reason why he said he needed help was because of the hockey outfit. It's so many
You're right.
layers.
You're right. I'm rethinking the whole scene. You're totally right.
Yeah, like the hockey outfit, it has layers. It's got pads. It's got a cup. It's got strings. It's
God,
so much to get hockey gear off.
I kept thinking too, when he was in there, I was like, oh, he's so sweaty. And he's got like 3 layers of like clothes down on his junk. Like that shit's going to smell so bad. And then when he said
fresh out of practice.
When he was like dripping in sweat. And then when he said like to her, he was like, you stink so bad. You should leave town for a few days or something. I was like, you stink so bad. I can smell you through the screen. God, I can smell your ball sweat from here.
So I have to ask, how old are these kids that she's teaching piano? Like, I hate to bring up the elephant in the room.
I think they're like about to go into college. I think it's generally that's why they said he's older. He's too old.
They say he's too old for the program.
Yeah, because she was it's really competitive. Like my aunt was an opera singer. She went over to Europe and did it, and it's like extremely competitive, and they want you young, and they want you to like start really young, and like you hit your peak in your like 20s. So I think that like because the girl that she was teaching who had the crushed hand, the glass, she looked like she was like 17 or something. So
listen, they were all young because all their parents were there like paying tuition, so they were young kids. They weren't even college.
I'm just hoping everybody was 18 in this scenario because that adds a whole other weird round.
Everybody except for him. This guy was probably already damn near done with college.
20.
Yeah, because Thalita mentioned he was already
he was in engineering school.
Yeah, engineering school.
So he would have so he might have been like early 20s, like 23 or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And all of his playing came from private tutoring, is what I had gotten from it.
Right.
Yeah. Well, that's a weird realm because, like, the girl with the crushed hand, I feel like, she was just so. I'm like, what is the age range here? Like, because I definitely, it's tough for me when it gets like that statutory stuff. It's like,
yeah.
So at least he was of age. Cool.
He was definitely.
I know that was the one point that I was like, fine, I'm still gonna watch this movie because I'm pretty sure, even in the movie, that he's of age, because it's like we're not sitting through another 2-hour movie of, this kind
also,
of stuff.
did you notice like how she reacted to other women's reaction toward him. Like he became more like she liked it more when like he flirted with other girls
Yeah,
initially. Like
when she saw him go on the ice and he was the only one of the hockey players that like turned to the girls and was like, sorry, the two girls leaving. She
yeah,
like
she
had
like had a
like
little smirk
a
about
little
that.
reaction.
That
Yeah.
was the most
She's like,
smirking she did.
she's like,
Yeah.
oh, like other girls like him. That makes him cuter or something. That's what I was
Yeah.
thinking in my head.
Or
Totally.
it goes back to her addiction to watching other people get it on too. Like that's like, I don't know. I feel like it helped her fantasy. Like that's why she was watching the kids at the movie theater. I think like she liked seeing him flirt, but she not
Or
don't flirt with me. Like I
oh
like watching him
oh
do it.
Definitely a voyeur for sure.
oh
Yes.
she had said she had waited for someone like him for so long. Is that the fact that after her seeing him be nice to the two girls and be this kind of showing like this person is nice so he can treat me like a piece of shit because then I still know that he's nice?
I was thinking about that too. I have no idea. I never came to a conclusion as to why she said that. Was it like was she waiting for someone who loves music and
I thought it was just that they both had like built up a thing in their head that they were in love. Like just like you do, like he's young and she's obviously inexperienced, and they're both like have these ideas about each other, which that's how love goes. I think a lot of times in the beginning is you have an idea about a person and you fall, like, especially when you're young, you're like, I'm in love with this person. And it's just really like, you're in love with the ideas of them. And I felt like they were just both like, he had an idea of her, like the first time he saw her play, and then he was like obsessed with her. And it's just like, he loved the music that she loved. And I think he liked that she was like coy, and I think she found him charming because he gave her attention and he's good looking and other girls wanted him and he liked, like he just like checked boxes. And I think that she just I was waiting for somebody who would like love me. I think she's just waiting to be loved.
Yeah, for sure.
or
For
did
sure.
he have a porno penis and she could finally
I'm glad you brought that up, Marina, because I gotta say, I wanted some dick in this movie. Like, I'm not really like, I don't need nudity a lot of times, but like, obviously, we've seen a lot more tits and pussy in movies than we have seen penises. We've seen a lot more, but I don't know why, but like, it was the way that the way he shot the bathroom scene, which that bathroom scene is incredible. Like when that scene ended, I was like, that scene is amazing. It was so good. It was hot as hell. Like the way he climbs over the bathroom stall, I was like, stop. It was like so good. And then like it was so hot and dirty and he didn't know where it was going. Like he kept thinking that he's gonna like come and then he doesn't, and she's like demanding things from him and he's like he's mad. I thought he was like just gonna obey at first and then he didn't, and then it was like that scene was it was a lot going on. I loved it.
It was all over the place. Yeah, it was
all
acted
over the place.
brilliantly. It could have
He
been
runs
a
out.
So we're
cool
gonna get a
scene
dick
study.
shot. I was like, show me a dick.
Yeah, I wonder if that was
You
intentional.
have to be really good actors to pull that scene off, for sure.
It was they're fantastic actors because the shots are so long.
Yeah.
He held it on his face forever. That shot of like just him where she's like jerking him off and she's like, don't touch me, don't, she's like, look at me, don't touch me, don't say anything. And he's like, can't help, but he's just brilliant. Like they're both so good.
Yeah, they're both really good in that scene.
For it being such a sexual movie, it is very interesting that there wasn't a lot of nudity on the actual actors. Like obviously when she goes to the porn shop, I saw a lot that I didn't need to see. But
that's your porn dick right there.
but it is interesting that they never showed that area or a body doubles area.
They
and
showed
then
her boob for like a second
when she was
at
bleeding.
that assault scene. Yeah.
If this movie was made today, 100% they would have showed him in this movie. 100%.
Totally. I think it would
I
have
just
been
think when this was made in 2001, there wasn't so much peen in films. But you can't watch an HBO series now without there being peen.
I think you're mistaken.
Huh?
In France, they were showing peen all over the place in France.
Maybe it was
not in a lot of films, man. I'm telling you, like
I think it was a choice.
Now every time they show a penis, it's always a fake penis. It's a sleeve. It's just so annoying. I'm like,
maybe it was for ratings
because
it's already rated R. Like if they would have had any more nudity, it might not have like
But again, but it's France, guys. I don't. They.
Yeah, but this thing probably already had. I mean, this is like a pretty known director at this point. This thing probably already had like worldwide distribution. A lot of big movies, like regardless, they didn't really show it, especially with big actors, like known actor. There wasn't really that much peen. Like I'm telling you, that didn't start happening until I'm going to tell you when it started happening. Season 1 or 2 of Girls is when after that happened, and they put like peen in that show. There was peen in every HBO show, every movie that has come out since.
In
It's just a
general,
part of it
I
now.
don't see a lot of peen, and when they do, they're prosthetic peen. I will never forget seeing, knowing that the piano, not the piano teacher, but the movie The Piano. There's a scene where one of the actors is full frontal nudity, and I thought that was the craziest thing when I was young. I was like, there's dick in this movie because you never see it. You never saw it in the 90s. Like,
Michael
ever.
Fassbender in Shame, full frontal nudity, and he's a movie star.
Mhm.
I saw The Piano when I was way too young.
It's one of the best performances of all time by, I mean, both of them, but Holly Hunter not speaking the entire movie. Like, come on, she's amazing.
I saw that when it came out. So I saw it whenever it came out. That's when I saw it. And what year did that come out?
93. So
yeah.
Okay, so before we wrap this thing up, let me just ask you guys this. We don't have to get too detailed, but in a nutshell, what would you say this movie was about, or what do you think the director was trying to say?
That's such an
It's
interesting
weird 'cause
question.
it's based on a. Oh, sorry. Go.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say it's weird because I saw that it's based on a book, so I'm just confused by the fact that is he just trying to portray what the book is already portraying? I to me it has to do with trauma, like and the pressures of everything that you could say an artist, right? Because my other thing is like, is she in a sick, demented kind of thing? Like she even says, I play Shaw's or who's Schubert, the one that went also mentally whatever. She says, I can talk about it because I've seen it firsthand because of my dad or whatever. So in some messed up way, does she already see herself up there with uh, those performers? Because she's like, I'm mentally crazy, so I can play this music. I know what they feel. So it's got to go with, to me, trauma and artists. Is that a cop out? That's what I'm going. Trauma, artist, artist trauma.
Just troubled artists. So you think they're just making a statement about troubled artists? Okay.
I think it's a, I honestly even had the thought after watching this. I was like, why the hell did this movie get made? How did it get made? How did they greenlight funding for this movie? Like, I feel like there had to be a lot of convincing. I know that the script is brilliant, but like, it's not a commercial film, and it's, like we said, we've all agreed it's disturbing. So I'm like, how the hell did this movie even get made? And like, why was this an important movie to make? I had that same question. But I do think like it just taps into that, like the human feeling of feeling like you're not enough in certain things in your life. And I really don't think she feels like she's enough in any area of her life, or will ever be enough, or will ever be seen as enough. And feeling deep shame, which I think everyone can relate to, and wanting to punish yourself in some way, which he literally does. I think that's why it's like interesting. It's like why we sometimes like to watch the creepy, true crime documentaries, because we're nothing like those people, but we either want to understand why they're like that, or we can understand parts of it and want to understand what led them to become like that. And I feel like this is kind of one of those things where she seems normal in a lot of ways, but then there's things about her that are like stretched beyond normalcy that makes it interesting to peer into.
Cool.
Is this a confession? Are you the Golden Gate Killer? I'm kidding. Just checking. I probably will turn every movie into this, but I think it's just a movie that talks about the importance of not having kids until you fix what's going on inside yourself, because you can raise this like sociopath, sadistic piano teacher daughter that probably would have been a little bit better in life if she just would have gotten a little bit more love and a little bit more support and not had to deal with the way her mother is. I feel like she was probably too exposed to her father's mental illness and not protect it. So protect those kids, love those kids, and support those kids so they can become the next generation and just be better.
Yeah, just to piggyback off of that, I mean, all those it's a really a stew because yeah, she's dealing with a dad who's not around because of mental illness, and I mean maybe she has some type of mental illness as well, and a mother who's like basically incapable of love, and she feels like she's pouring all of herself into her daughter's success and trying to cultivate her daughter's talent. But then at the same time, her daughter is competing in a world that is like highly competitive. You know what I mean? And uh, you know, uh, and the mom is very well aware of it because she's still making her daughter compete as though she's a show mom or show pony back from when she was a teenager. She's still like, you have to be the best, and you never know who's going to see you, even though like she's supposed to be there for the students. You know what I mean? Like she's still in that, like she never got out of that frame of mind of like trying to put her daughter in position. So like it's just this really strong stew. It just feels like it feels like the mom and the daughter are in a time capsule from exactly where the other mom and daughter in this story are. The daughter who cuts her hand with a glass in the pocket. It feels like they are stuck there forever. That's what it felt like to me. Um, what this thing is about to me, only because I've seen some of this other director's other work. All his movies sort of have like the theme of like sociopaths. He also directed Funny Games. If you guys have ever seen that, he directed the French version, the first version that came out in the '90s, and then there's like another version that came out a little later, like a U.S. version of that film. And
Feels
that
like
movie is like,
a remake.
yeah, and that film is King Sociopath, about the guys who break into people's houses and like destroy their lives. So yeah, it feels like he's sort of dealing with that kind of thing, like people like who are basically the Joker for no reason. But she seems like we're also in the origin story of the Joker too, because we're with the mom. You know what I mean? It's like we're sort of seeing the making of this broken person. So that's what I think this thing is about. It's about those relationships and like this functioning broken person. And it makes me think a lot of like my theater days, to be honest with you, like these mean teachers. And it's sometimes like just mean for no reason and like try to break you down for no reason. It's like, well, what are you really dealing with? What's your real life really like? What are you hiding? What are you suppressing? What's going on with you to make you so miserable to these students? And just brought back a little bit of PTSD for me a little bit. And I've always liked mean teachers, but not mean for no reason.
Amen.
That would be my take. So let's go into final thoughts. Who wants to start us off? I'll do it.
Oh.
No, Marina, please.
Interesting. Definitely the type of movie that you discuss with other people. There's a lot to unpack. I will probably never recommend this movie, or someone will think I'm crazy. Okay.
Unless you're on the letterbox red carpet, then you'll have to.
Yeah, I probably won't watch it again, but it's always cool to knock off one of these Criterion list movies. I'm starting to kind of wonder about the people who made the list, like some of these selections, but yeah, just very, very, very interesting. That something like this was created, and just like that there are people out there like going through this kind of thing too. Like it's just so icky to think about. But yeah, overall, yeah, always good to watch something that I never would have picked out on my own, but definitely going into my box of movies that are only going to scare me one time. But yeah, that's it.
So I would recommend this movie to people who love more cinephiles, I think, who will really get a kick out of this thing. People who are like, really gun ho about the Criterion films may actually like this thing. I also think at the time this thing was made, early 2000s, probably made in 2000, 2001, is probably a little bit groundbreaking in presentation. I don't think there's probably a ton of movies like this before that, although I do believe there's probably a ton of movies like this now. This thing probably inspired a bunch of films, I'm willing to bet. And if you have a problem with this movie, you would really hate a French film that won the Palme d'Or called Titane. That
Oh
me and
my
Dino
God.
had to, oh, see, so
I've seen it.
so
Wait, did you guys like that movie? Now I gotta know.
no, me and Dino almost walked out on it 17
Wait,
times.
have you seen Raw, her first one?
No,
I hated Titane, but I loved Raw. You
okay,
gotta see Raw. Or maybe I
all
should
right.
just
Not
go
I
watch
think
it sometime.
Not even 5 minutes into the movies, and about 12 people walked out. when
Marina,
we were
you would hate
watching
Raw.
Titanic.
You guys might hate Raw. It's like one of the most disturbing, disgusting movies I've ever seen, but it is really good.
I'll check it out.
I'll
Yeah.
take your words
I did
for it.
Titane. I feel like Titane is a classic problem. I'm sorry to go on tangent, but I feel like it's a classic problem of like, I'm a director who did well with my first movie, and I was given a little bit more power, and I went a little crazy. And I feel like when you see Raw, you'll be like, this is what you should have stuck with. But okay.
Also, Titane won the Palme d'Or.
I mean, I didn't like hate it, but I didn't love it either. I was like, like that kind of made me feel that way. But
There was no part of that movie that I liked. There was some cool cinematography when it first started, and some cool
Yes.
like camera moves. But
I mean, what was she pregnant with at the end? What was that whole thing? Like, was this movie a sci-fi? What was the genre really? Like, what was it?
I guess
so
I'm
okay,
gonna
if
have
you
to
like
pick that,
Titane, you'll
'cause
probably love this film.
I'm gonna pick it now for next week so that Marina has to watch it because
Wait,
Do not
Titane
ever
or
pick that movie.
Titane?
Achoo!
I don't ever want to see it again. I barely want to see Raw again, although I think about it all the time, which I think means it's a movie that you should see because it.
Listen, I'll watch it, even if someone tells me something's wild and crazy. If someone would have recommended Titane to me, I probably would have watched it because I just sort of need it as a frame of reference. It's like a film person. But with this movie, I didn't hate this movie probably as much as some of you guys did. I wasn't really super disturbed with all the sex stuff. Like it wasn't like always very pleasant, but I've seen a lot of movies that have done way worse. So like I was okay. I was honestly, a lot of it was kind of tame from like what happens in 2025. To be honest with you, like her letter, I was like, yeah, that's a sex pervert letter, but it's not that crazy. So who would I recommend this to? Sex perverts, absolutely. I,
Dino's dying.
I would recommend this movie to, like I said, people who are into like the Criterion list who have to see it. Michaela said it a few times this week and last week that this thing is mentioned on the red carpet a lot for a lot of reasons. I would kind of like to hear why other people put it in such high regard. There's so many letterbox lists. It's like I said, it's also on the 1,000 movies you got to see before you die list. Like, I just think this movie was probably groundbreaking at the time, and people hadn't seen a lot like it in 2000. 25 years ago, almost 25 years ago, this thing comes out. Would I watch it again? I don't know if I would watch this again. I don't think I need to see it again. Especially, I may have watched it again with another person, presentation wise, like just like, maybe to learn from as a reference work. But after having talked to you guys about it now, like you guys have given me like everything I think I need to know about this thing. Like, I might like to see what the director says about it just to like be nosy. But yeah, those are my final thoughts on the film.
Okay, I'll go. Okay, my final thoughts. I loved talking about this with you guys. Like I said, my position pretty much stands as it did at the beginning, which is I think that this movie was so well made. It was an amazing piece of cinema that I don't really care to see again. I really do think that I think the script is like just so good. I so many times was like, God, that was really like to put the pen to paper to make that happen on screen is masterful. I had that thought a lot of times. And I think that if you're a person who is interested in good screenwriting, then this would be a movie for you. If you're a person that's interested in quiet but powerful films, this is a movie that's for you. It's quiet and powerful. It will stick with you, whether you like it or not. If you're somebody that likes to really like focus, pay attention, sink into the film, let it just kind of come to you, I feel like this is another movie that's for you, because you really do have to be very present, because it is a little slow at times, but it's done so well. And I think I agree with Jason saying, like, I feel like this movie probably was groundbreaking, and like I think it did pave the way for other movies. I feel like I've seen movies get slower since 2001, so maybe that's what this movie did to cinema, which I don't really love personally. The movies have gotten so fucking slow. So maybe that's the fault of this movie, but I don't think I would see it again, but I would recommend it for anyone that's like, I want to know how to write a really good script in which not like anything huge or major or like the biggest story ever happens. I think this would be, or like I want to watch a movie with a great script about a human having a human experience. I think this is a good one to watch, because whether you find it disturbing or not, she is a human having a human experience, and that's really all the movie is. And I think it's done masterfully.
Yeah, this thing definitely keeps your attention throughout. It was just what's going on kind of quietly in this person's head, and they are showing you more than telling you. They don't really tell you until the letter.
And I know. Oh, and I should say too, if you are interested in like, you know, good acting, fantastic acting, in which they don't do a lot, is Isabelle Huppert, that's her name, or whatever. She's top notch.
She's
that's the best I've ever seen.
Sure.
That's the best I've ever seen of that kind of acting. To do nothing with your face and do so much. She's the best I've ever seen in that. The master, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, I want to say, at one point, John was like, if this movie was made today, Julianne Moore would play her. And I was like, I actually don't think Julianne Moore would play her, because I think Julianne Moore is a fabulous actor, but I don't think she could do what she's doing. Like, I think that this is like a very hard thing to do that very few people can do the way that she does it. It's absolutely like one in a generation kind of acting. I think it's masterful.
Yeah. Almost maybe a Tilda Swinton, but like maybe Tilda's face is like too interesting even, but I agree.
Maybe. Yeah.
Dino, you didn't give us your final thought.
No, I haven't. I think more so that even the writing, you guys got to it at the end there. The acting, I think, is just superb. Would I recommend this? I'd probably be like, you want to see some amazing fucked up acting, you watch The Piano Teacher. That's probably how I would sell this movie. Just the most, because it's what she did in this movie is just amazing. And then shortly after that is I didn't expect much of the guy portrayal, but when I got there at the end, also I was like, oh fuck, never mind. There's some actual. So the acting alone, I think, is what I would recommend people if you want to see really messed up, fucked up kind of themes with just amazing acting that can be like, regardless what subject matter is, if you have really good acting, it can be captivating, it can elevate the stories, it can make it interesting, then I think that's how I would recommend this. I don't need to watch this again, but I would watch scenes with other people. Like if it's kind of like either a scene study or kind of what we're doing now. If someone, if I might recommend like, oh, check out this scene, or stuff like that. Yeah, so that's what I was thinking about it. Yeah, the people that have recommended or have talked about her acting in this, can be like Jessica Chastain and stuff like that. I've seen has popped up. But yeah, so that is it for my final thoughts.
Right on. Thank you so much, Dino. So I guess that concludes this review of The Piano Teacher. Steve, I do have a question for you before we jump on up out of here. What do you got for us next week, Bucko?
Next week, I am so glad you asked me because it is actually now my turn. It is the returning Dino's turn.
Pew, pew,
Welcome
pew,
back,
pew,
Dino. What do you got?
Well, so I've been kind of giving Talita a tour of California, and we went to New Beverly, and I was telling her about the Vista and about the coffee shop and how it's called, Pam's Coffee and all that. And so then I'm choosing coffee because I don't think I've ever actually seen it, and I feel
Hey,
it's been a long time since I've seen a black exploitation film, and Pam Grier is kick ass, and yeah, so I just think it's a good change from what I think has been watched here lately.
This is so
very cool.
exciting.
Very cool. I've never seen it either.
Everyone never heard of it. But I love
What?
Pam Grier, so
I
And
may
then-
have
All
seen
right,
it. I might have seen
awesome.
it.
I love
All
it
right.
that based on the cover alone.
I know, right?
We're gonna get some
Epic.
cleavage all day long.
There you go. So for not a big change from with this movie to this one. From Michaela, Marina, Jason Echoes, El Dandino, me, Steve Desi. We will catch you next week. Bye bye.
Bye.